Okay. Hello. I'll wait till people join until I speak, because I feel like if I speak before people join, which I'm already doing, I'm just gonna feel very self-conscious because it's been months since I've been live, and I'm sure that a lot of people are not even gonna show up. Oh, someone did. Hi. I'm gonna wait. This is, you know, like the moment when there is no one in your live is always the most like excruciating moment, especially since I haven't been live in like a stupidly long time. Hi. Hi, Scooter. Hi, Gabby. Hi, Kathleen. Oh my God. Hello. Yes, Cindy, you can, yeah, you can. 1 sec, sorry. My dog is like, come on, Bubby. Come on. Okay. Yeah, but you gotta do it in a way where I can still sit in my chair and not like fall out of it. Hi guys. I know it's been a very long time. To be honest, I I had reasons at first, and then I just sort of haven't been live in so long that I kind of like developed a stage fright in a sense. It's like, you know, if you like don't like, you have a friend and they like text you or something and you like don't respond to them for a while, and then because like you're, hi everyone, and you're like not responding because you're like busy, or I don't know, you're depressed or whatever the hell might be going on with you, and then like none of these reasons apply anymore, but you're just not responding because you haven't spoken to them in so long that you've like sort of developed this like guilt type of thing. So that's me at the moment. Before we talk about like everything that's happening in the world, and honestly, oh my fucking God, before we do that, I guess it's not that I owe you an explanation. Here is everything that happened. I went to the US in October, I think, or in November. Honestly, everything is a blur. But I went to the US in the fall. I went through Canada because I was scared of flying into an airport. I got stopped by a customs officer, and they were like considering revoking my green card technically because I haven't been in the US for more than 6 months, even though I'm allowed to up to a year, but I guess it's Trump admin, so whatever you're allowed doesn't apply. So I was stopped. It was really scary. They did end up letting me in. I ended up being like late for my flight, whatever. So I spent some time in the US. It was like a roller coaster, and it was a lot, honestly, because I had to like pack up a lot of stuff and send some stuff that I need to Ukraine, like winter clothes and things. And I was just basically like kind of like a hamster in the wheel. Right before that, or I guess like right before that trip, there were issues with my job where I could no longer see myself working there and keep my moral compass in a sense. And also I could no longer see myself working there because like what they sort of have created, in a sense, like the environment that they have created was like, no matter what I did, it wouldn't change anything. And so I was basically coming to work to just do whatever, and like that work wouldn't bring any good for Ukraine. It wasn't really going anywhere. It was like, you know, we were doing everything for the channel to grow, and then the people who were like the middle management were doing everything to tank the channel. And so it was just kind of like I was coming to work solely to collect the paycheck, right? Like I didn't care anymore. I stopped putting in effort into like creating videos and stuff, because it's sort of like it didn't matter. Like I could sit on camera and do absolutely nothing, do the worst job on the planet, and it would get the same sort of like the same result as like actually putting in effort and putting out like good content. So at some point, like I couldn't do it anymore. They offered me to switch departments into something that was like completely fucking wild for like the same salary, but I mean like genuinely wild. And I was like, I don't want to do that. So I was going to the US. So me and the job parted ways. I went to the US. Right before I went to the US, my grandmother had a heart attack. I don't even remember, honestly, it's a blur, but like the fall was awful. Like a lot of stuff happened that fall that was just like not good. So I came back to Ukraine like in December. Yeah, I went in November and I came back in December, and that was like the period. My although I do want to say that my grandma is okay. There was like a lot of there was like, at first when it happened, there was a lot of sort of like we didn't know what's going to happen. We didn't know if she was going to recover. We didn't know how she was going to recover, but at the end of the day, like after a while, she recovered very well. And she's okay now. She just needs to like really hone in on taking care of herself and stop pretending like she doesn't need to, not eat butter and stuff because she's 85 and has a lot of restrictions in terms of her health. So that happened. And then I came back in December. No one's hiring in December. So it was like I was basically talking to a bunch of people, but nothing was really like happening work wise. And so I kind of like got into this like depressive rut. I'm doing like the way that I get by is like I do consulting things in design in the US, which like pays for basic expenses. So it's not like, not like things were like completely fucked up, but that also means that I work nights because time difference, and that means that I don't have a set schedule. I have ADHD, and as you might know, well, you all know I have ADHD. I've said it like so many times. I feel like people, when I say it, people are like, oh my god, shut up already. But point is that like if my routine gets disrupted, it's really hard for me to get back into a routine, and if I don't have like someone to answer to, like an employer, which is why I don't like doing contract work. It's like I procrastinate a lot, and I have like a really hard time keeping myself in check. So that was happening through December. There were also some other like personal issues that were happening. Like there was a lot going on then. Then now we are in end of January, but so my little dog Maeve, she's not here right now, as in like not in my apartment. She's actually with my dad because when I came back while I was in the US, she was staying with my dad, and my dad like really fell in love with her, and then was trying to find every single reason on the planet to like to basically keep her longer. And it's funny because he usually likes big dogs, and like this is the first time I see him be like in love with a dog like that. But all of the kind of electricity cuts started being crazy, and like heat cuts started being crazy and stuff, and Lviv was fine, like more or less fine. So I was like, okay, she should stay there for a little while, especially if she's getting spayed, because then my dad and his girlfriend can look after her, and they're like two people in there all the time. They live in the second floor, so even if the elevator is not working, it's not a problem. Maeve is like really energetic. So anyways, fast forward 2 weeks ago, she gets spayed, or 3 weeks ago, and everything is fine for 2 days. And then on day 4, she like starts like peeing under herself. She isn't eating. She isn't drinking. She is really lethargic. Like things basically start deteriorating and like regressing really quickly. And the funniest thing is that I wanted her to be spayed in Lviv because it's a vet that we trust, that we've been going to for our whole life. But basically, they decided that because she's under 5 years old, they shouldn't do blood work for her before spaying her, because she's a healthy dog, which is like mistake number 1. And had I known that, I would have hi Brandy and hi Sherry. Had I known that, I would have insisted on blood work, but I didn't know. And like whatever. So anyways, she starts deteriorating, and the vet is basically like, she has a hereditary chronic kidney issue, and that's why she's like getting worse. And it just came out now because the stress of surgery. Meanwhile, like Maeve is allergic to mosquito bites, and she like blows up crazily when mosquitoes bite her. So like she's had a lot of like stress, okay? And like if she and like other freaking things, and if she had a chronic kidney issue, like it would have come out. But anyways, basically, we know that it was negligence during surgery, and we know that like what likely ended up happening is that they kept her in a very cold room because electricity cuts on like a steel table, to get over her anesthesia for hours, and she like got like a kidney cold, whatever. So anyways, point is that we didn't care for like who's to blame, what is to blame. Point is that like she lost 3 kilograms. So Maeve's weight is 12 kilograms and she lost 3. So if you want to see what that looks like this was what Maeve it's still kind of what Maeve looks like, but this is what happened to my dog within like 3 days. And I mean like from a healthy, very incredibly, like happy, super active pup that like loves jumping and hiking and doing crazy stuff, like a little husky in a French bulldog body, right? And so she was like going down and down and down, and we kept like putting her on an IV, and they kept telling us that it's a kidney issue. But then we like found this doctor to consult her, and to consult with her, and it turns out she's like, listen, it's an infection, it's a post-op infection or something, because like her, like I don't know how they're looking at these labs and saying it's a kidney issue, because yeah, like her kidneys right now are fucked up, but that's because everything is in her body. So anyways, for 2 weeks straight she was on IVs every day, and 3 days ago she started eating and drinking and like going to the bathroom on her own outside and stuff. And so like, to be fair, for the past like 2.5 weeks I was not a person. I was kind of like, I didn't know what was gonna happen. It was a very difficult situation. Also add on top of that, the fact that like Kyiv would lose electricity for like 18 hours a day. I'm lucky, I can't complain because I've had heat this whole time. Today actually, or yesterday, was the first day that like heat incoming, basically like water into the incoming water into radiators was at 40 degrees Celsius, which it should be at 110. And it was at like 80 the whole time. So that's like less, but good, much better than like most people in Kyiv, right? But now it's at 40. So it's pretty like, it's gotten quite cold in here. But I can't complain about anything, honestly, because like so far my situation has been like more than ideal compared to like a lot of people. So I can't really say anything. But at the same time, like, again, I think I have this, like, I have a really hard time functioning under conditions where like I can't, where like, again, my brain works in a way where I can't like plan. I have a really hard time with time management and with like prioritizing and planning efficiently. So when I don't have electricity, like even, I don't know, 8 hours of the day, it's like, things just like get kind of discombobulated, and everything is just kind of like a mess. So that's been the thing. And also like, I've been in therapy for months, so that's helped a lot, genuinely. But I really hope she's not watching this, but like I've been having a lot of issues with my mom, like on top of everything else that I've said, and I mean like really, really heavy issues. Actually, we have been no contact for like 2 months until recently, because it was her birthday, so I broke it because, I'm a child that constantly feels guilt and like wants to prove that I'm like enough, I guess. So there's that. So yeah, if you were wondering why I haven't been live for 3 months, it's because of all of these things combined. And like, I think I just didn't want to go live on every single, because like, I think at some point like going live has turned into me coming on every time and being like, hey, I'm really sorry, but I am like not feeling very great because X, Y, and Z. And oh, I haven't been live for a week because X, Y, and Z, or I haven't been live for like a month because X, Y, and Z. And so I just decided that like, honestly, I can't really, like it like isn't worth it in a sense. And I also can't maintain consistency anyway, so I would go live and be like, yeah, I'll try to go live more, and then disappear for a month. So so yeah, so this wasn't necessarily like very productive, and I figured that I will just pause and then come back when I'm actually feeling like a human again, which like I wouldn't say I'm like at 100% of a human right now, but at least I'm not like at 20. We're maybe at like 70, which is good. This is very good. You know, like I want to shower again. Like I don't necessarily, you know, I don't force myself to. I'm like, ooh, I would like to take a shower. So that's I think this is like a good like a good starting point for like feeling like a human. Um so yeah. Also I mean like, you know, coincidentally, I need to travel to the United States in February and meet in mid-February again in order to like keep my paperwork. And at this point, honestly, I'm I'm kind of like at the brink of a choice of whether do I even do that, because I kind of don't want to, you know, like in Biden's America or in literally any other America, I feel like I would be like, yeah, I mean, well, if, you know, if they just don't want me there, they'll just like turn me around and put me on a plane back to where I came from. In Trump's America, I'm kind of like, well, if they decided they don't want me here, even though my paperwork is all in order, but I have been out of the country for 3 months, they might quite literally send me to a concentration camp. So, or like, I don't know, I could disappear without a trace for like 3 months, or I don't know. Point is like it's become like thinking about the US and going to the US has become so stressful that I don't think it's worth it. And at this point, I honestly feel like if this administration ever changes, like all of the people that have been like deported and taken their like citizenship away or like whatever can honestly appeal that with the new administration solely based on the fact that like what the fuck, you know. But I don't even like, point is that I'm gonna go to Canada like mid-February, and I have friends in Canada, so I'm gonna stay with them. I'm gonna meet with an immigration lawyer in Canada because I feel like they're proximity wise they probably know the situation a little bit better, and then I'll decide there if I'm gonna like cross the border or if I'm just gonna end up, I don't know, figuring something out in Canada. I don't know. uh oh, hi James. Oh, hi Dan. Good to see you here. Literally happened in Minnesota. Don't come. It's not safe. No, I mean, like, listen, I have been watching the news. Actually, I started. So one of the ways, while I was like in a very, very, very deep depressive rut, I like couldn't keep up with the news anymore. I've noticed this thing where like people would ask me questions and I wouldn't really know what they were talking about because like I have no bandwidth to keep up with the news the same way that I did before, you know, which also was kind of putting me in this very upset position because I don't like being uninformed, you know. I think you know me enough to know that I like really like to keep my hand on the pulse and everything, and so I was kind of feeling like, you know, I went from being able to look at the headline and know everything that's going to be said there because I know everything that's happening and being able to analyze it and predict what's going to happen in like 2 months based on that, to being like, huh, what are you talking about? So I couldn't get back into like actually keeping up with the news until I figured out a way that it's like creative for me, and also like I figured out a creative way basically to get back into reading the news and keeping up with headlines and keeping up with like the news in general. So I created this journal. I'll actually show it to you. I'm gonna go grab it and show it to you because I think it's like kind of a cool idea, and I guess it's like good for like history keeping purposes. One sec. Ow, Sinona. You can look at Cindy's back for a minute. Okay, so funny thing is that like I logged onto TikTok the other day for the first time in a while because I really don't like, I haven't been participating in social media very, very much at all. And people are now like obsessed with journaling and fountain pens and stuff. And I'm like, wow, cool. This is the thing that I've been doing forever, and now it's trending, and now it's stupidly overpriced. Cool. But anyways, so I have this like journal that I was just like, what do I do with this? So I started taking headlines and basically like dating. So I do like date, right? So this one was 2701. And I have a couple of these journals, and like when one ends, I like substitute it, and then I like keep it as like a time log, I guess. And so I find articles that I found like the most impactful that day, and I kind of like print out the headline. I have like a tiny little thermal printer, and then I like write some things about it, or like sort of my thoughts on it, and the headlines that I consider to be like the most impactful in that day. Like they're US, Ukraine, worldwide in general, so these types of things. Oh, hi Iceland. Thank you so much. That's genuinely very, very sweet. I really, really appreciate it. So yeah, kind of like these types of things that I think are important. And that's a creative way that got me into sort of like enjoying the news again. Not like, obviously there's the news is so fucked, you guys, that there is nothing to enjoy. However, I mean like as in like enjoying consuming the news and keeping up with everything. So that's kind of what I've been doing. And then because like I like my little like creative spurs and stuff, so I started like decorating these, these like little news spreads. So this one's today. Yeah, so that's kind of how I've been conditioning myself to not look away, because I also understand that sort of everything that's happening in the US, I want to say just in Minneapolis, but it really isn't. Like I've been getting word that ICE is in JFK, ICE is in LaGuardia. They're just sort of like picking people up. Also, airlines are now sending your your information, any airline in the US. If you take a flight, they're sending your information to ICE, and ICE processes it to the degree to which I guess they process things. And then they can take you, like they can literally wait for you at the airport when you land. Or before you even get on the flight. So yeah, there is really not, it feels like Gestapo, but also not really. I would call it like a mixture of SS and Gestapo. The other day, or the other week actually, a German newspaper, Der Spiegel, has published a news article, and they called ICE Trump's Gestapo. And I think that when Germany starts calling something Gestapo, this is not like a wake-up call. It's kind of I think it's a bit late to wake up in a sense. But I don't know, like I look at everything that's happening stateside, and I like don't know what to do with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, as in, it's gotten to a point where even if you wait until the midterms, it's in November. That's like 9 months from now, 8 months from now. It's a really long time, and all of this is escalating really, really quick. So I kind of don't know what's gonna stop him. And even if he's done, we get JD Vance. So it's sort of like you can't just remove Trump, right? Like you have to remove the whole system. I've seen that they are trying to fine women $17,000 if they're over 30 and don't have a child. That is wild. Some of my friends that I know from the US are actively either trying to move to Europe, as in like applying to grad schools or looking for like jobs that could transfer them there, or legitimately just like fleeing. Literally, like the people that have savings don't even care if they can apply to grad schools. They just leave because you can go to the EU, and you can stay there for what, like 90 days, and then you have to leave the Schengen zone, kind of like wait a little, and then you can come back for another 3 months. And Spain right now is becoming very lenient on their immigration policies. So Spain is offering a lot of immigration leniency. Like recently, they just legalized 500,000, I think, immigrants, and gave them legal work permits because they were there already, and like they're working, but they have no way of paying taxes. So they were just like, okay, we might as well give those people job permits, and they don't have to work under the table anymore, and our economy is kind of gonna benefit from that. Oh, thank you, Richard. Lovely to see you as well. I'm very happy to be live again, to be honest. I'm very happy to be back, and I hope that I can keep this up, but I'm not gonna like promise anything, because I've done that before and that didn't go anywhere. But yeah, so those are like just some of the things. I know a lot of people who are staying for their friends and neighbors who want to help. For instance, like I have some friends in very red states that are basically like staying to help women with reproductive care, and women with they want to help like trans individuals with their reproductive, well, not reproductive, but hormonal care and stuff like that, gender affirming care. There are protests in Italy currently against ICE because the Trump admin decided to send ICE with the Olympians for the Olympians' protection. Normally you send like a special policing unit, Trump admin sent ICE. So Italy is protesting. Are the Americans fleeing the USA more like Democrats or like Russians fleeing Russia? Like, no, the people that are fleeing the US, oh, no. Americans who are fleeing the US are not like Russians, because those are the Americans that never voted for Trump. Those are the Americans that are fucking terrified, and that kind of have been like predicting this like all along. And to be fair, I mean, I am very divided on like what I sort of think about fleeing, because I don't know. Thank you, Dan. Thank you very much. I don't know how effective that is, and I don't know how and I don't know sort of like how I feel about that in a sense of like fighting back, right? But I don't know how you fight back in the US. You know what I mean? Like, I look at what Minnesotans are doing, and that's amazing. I mean, it's amazing to witness this resistance. But the issue is, it's like separate states, right? And those separate states have separate governors. And because the US is kind of like, it's kind of many different countries in one country, right? So you kind of have to, like, I feel like you would have to overthrow this state by state in order for something to work. Never voted for him and have been disgusted by him since the 1980s. Like, yeah, I think Trump has been an abomination since way back when. But I read something recently. Actually, I read this article, which is really, really funny. I'm gonna read you. Well, it's not funny, but it's basically like it's not about what I want to talk about, but it kind of like explains his logic in a sense, right? Because so Trump's profiteering hits $4 billion. At the start of Donald Trump's first term, he promised that he and his family would never do anything that might even be perceived to be exploitative of office of the presidency. Right. By contrast, his second term looks rapacious. He and members of his family have signed a blitz of foreign mega deals shadowed by conflict of interests, and they've launched at least 5 different cryptocurrency enterprises, all of which leverage Trump's status as president to lure buyers and/or investors. Ethics watchdogs say that no other president has ever so nakedly exploited his position or on such a scale. Trump recently explained to The Times why he cast aside his former restraint. I found out that nobody cares. So that's the whole point, is that like, I think he's realized that no one cares. Because no matter what he says, no matter what he does, no matter how many times he contradicts himself, like no one calls him out. I mean, people do, but not like on a large scale. Right now we have, Marjorie Taylor Greene and Abbott kind of being like, well, I don't know, these like immigration policies are anti-American because, they killed a guy who was carrying. But it's like, yeah, they also killed a woman. They've killed like 9 people. 9 people died in ICE custody in like, I don't know, 2.5 months. So it's not just about caring. It's about the fact that they're rogue militia of guys who are underqualified and have a lot of like fragile male egos and I guess testosterone built up. Like it's a bunch of incels that were previously working or not working, very low skill jobs, and they decided to go join ICE because it's a $50,000 signing bonus. Have you guys read that article of a journalist who applied to be an ICE agent because she went to an ICE career fair in Texas and she was just sort of like gonna investigate? And she ended up applying for a job and getting a job. And the funny thing is that she failed her drug test because she smoked weed the night before. She didn't finish her application. And there was a bunch of other stuff that was just like kind of ludicrous. And they sent her like a welcome to ICE thing. Here's the start date of your employment. This is where you should show up. And on her like little ICE portal, she had all of that. And ICE was trying to deny it, but she had like all of the screenshots and everything. And so they don't care who they're hiring. They're like hiring anyone and everyone. That's why you see those like incels out on the streets that are killing people just because they can. And then what, they get full-blown immunity for everything because they're federal agents on assignment. So everything they do is justifiable. Like, killing people is not justifiable when there are 7 agents against 1 person. They're not fearing for their life. They're also wearing bulletproof vests. Like, subduing someone, okay, like you could like, electrocute them or like whatever. It's still not great, but I'm saying like if you're fearing for your life, there are lots of methods of subduing an individual before shooting them dead in the head 10 times or 7 or however many, Getting wild. Also, before YouTube says anything, this is matcha tonic. There is 0% any illegal substances in here. It's literally sparkling matcha in a bottle. There have been high production commercials recruiting for ICE. Yeah, I mean, I've seen that too. Thank you, Dan. I've seen a lot of those too because I use my socials on a VPN. So my feeds for most platforms, except for Threads somehow, are all English speaking, are all in the US. And that's kind of like, so I see everything pretty much that you guys see, except I also have bonus content from other countries. They get after 5 years, so I read. Does anyone know if that's true? I don't think they get it after 5 years. I think they actually get, I'm sure there is some sort of clause because then they would be like then they would get hired and then they would get fired, or like they would leave a couple of days later. So I'm sure there is like a clause of like 6 months or something like that. It's not, like you have to contingent on like you working for ICE for 6 months. But I've seen like Latino ICE agents. I've seen, which is like paradoxical to me, right? It's like you are a minority. Your parents are immigrants. How are you an ICE agent? I was also, I was thinking about those people and how they don't realize that this administration hopefully is not forever, right? And then after this administration is gone, there's going to be a tribunal. And no one's going to be like, oh, you were just following orders. No, like each one of these agents is going to be prosecuted, and they're going to be arrested, right? And even if they alone didn't shoot anyone or didn't kill anyone, right? They're going to spend half of their life in courts. And they think that this government is going to stand up for them, but this government won't stand up for them. And also, like, what do the minority ICE agents think is going to happen? Because all of those racist white dudes that are part of ICE, they're gonna throw all of the other ones, like all of the other agents under the bus, trying to save their own ass. So like, to me, it's so well, but this is kind of what happens, right? Like, power changes people. So it's like they handed ICE unhinged power and absolutely no punishment. And they told them, you can go do whatever it is that you want to do. You want to kill people? You can kill people. You want to, shoot people dead? You want to abuse your power? You want to starve people? You want to keep them in like unbearable conditions? Do it. Do whatever you want. And yeah, well, they think they're never going to be held responsible. But that's just simply unrealistic. How is Vasil doing? He is still working. He's working, but the thing is that like his work permit expires in April, and his application for extension has been under review for like a year now, and if it's not approved by April when his work permit expires, then he doesn't think he's going to be able to stay in the US because he doesn't want to work under the table and he doesn't want to be an illegal immigrant in America. And so he's kind of like trying to find plan Bs and plan Cs in case he needs to like move on short notice to a different country, because yeah, it's just not a good place for you people, or like any type of immigrants really at the moment, especially like if you're not a naturalized citizen, or at least don't have a green card. Also, this is for ink. I feel like I'm like, this is not liquor. This is for ink, but it is for ink. I use it to ink up my fountain pens. But yeah, so he doesn't really have a plan because it's really difficult right now. Not many places, like most of the places that used to offer asylum for Ukrainians don't anymore, because it's been like a long time since the war has started. And like if you weren't in country by now, then they really are not like offering you extension, or they're not really welcoming you. So it's really hard to like move somewhere right now. Oh, which is why I'm also sort of like, I like at this point, I don't know what to do either, because I rely on being able to make some sort of income in the US to support myself. And if I don't have my green card, I don't have the ability to do that. So I kind of need to figure out what I'm supposed to do. So yeah, it's a lot of really, really big and difficult decisions, and a lot of like they're debilitating in a sense, because you know they put you in this state of like depressive rut, really. Can Vasil go to Canada or here in the UK? I mean, that's the thing, is that like Canada doesn't really offer these easy asylum visas for Ukrainians anymore, and neither does the UK. So you would have to go through like a regular immigration process, which is really freaking difficult. Like the UK immigration process is one of the most difficult ones. So you would have to you would have to like find, you know, enroll in college or something, or do something like that in order for you to be able to be in the UK legally. But like college in the UK is a lot of money. Canada right now doesn't really offer easy visas for Ukrainians either. I mean, it's been a while since the war started, right? So it's not gonna be an easy freaking thing. This is all I'm trying to say, basically. So yeah, you guys. What else? Okay. Sure. I mean, I can discuss, but like, what are you like? I don't see you just put an UK flag and like a, you know, a thumbs down. So if you want to discuss, I'm happy to discuss, but you have to give me something to like go off of. But yeah, how about, I guess, like, instead of just speaking, I would like to read your comments and try to like interact with them. In some good news out of the US, Virginia, my state, has its first female governor. She recently got inaugurated on January 17th. Oh, congratulations. That is actually great news. I'm very happy to hear that. Yeah, a round of applause for Virginia. No, that's really good. Life is not easy, I guess, when you've got lemons. Well, you know, like, yeah, I mean, I get it. See, like, here's the thing. I agree with that, right? But at the same time, so for instance, what you see here, I have electricity. Like, I'm not necessarily sitting here in a winter coat, right? This is an exception to most of the rules. So what is your concerns and plan? Leave USA? I mean, I'm in Ukraine. I'm in Kyiv. I'm not in the US, but I am a US resident. I have a green card. I'm a permanent resident, and I lived in the US for 14 years until I moved here. And I still kind of like go between both. But so what I was saying is that like my situation in Kyiv is incredibly like few and far between, as in like it's unique in a sense, not like unique, but my building doesn't have gas. It mostly operates on electricity, and we have like a really good generator that like a bunch of people in the building invested in a long time ago, and it's not Kiev, it's Kyiv. Kiev doesn't exist. So yeah, so like we don't need like gas to heat up our building. Also, we are close to critical infrastructure, and I think that plays a part. And I mean, genuinely, my building has been kind of unique because I see other buildings on the same block, and they don't have, their situation is not nearly as good as like mine is. And so, or like, I mean, our buildings is. So to be fair, like what I'm experiencing is not 1/10 of what people here are experiencing. Like I am really, really lucky. And I recognize that. And I mean, like, you know, I know some, actually, it's not that I know some friends, but my really good friend hasn't had heating in like a month and a half now, and he's gotten his apartment to 10 degrees Celsius indoors. And that's like amazing for him. Like I was like, hey, you can sleep on my couch. You know, like I've offered this to countless friends. I'm like, if you guys need water, shower, I don't know, come here and like charge your gadgets, like do whatever you need, right? Like you can come here, you can stay on my couch. Like I don't care. I don't need that much privacy. Like it's fine, you know, like it's like strenuous circumstances. And my friends are like, oh no, I mean like, hey, I got my bedroom to 10 degrees Celsius, so like this is good. I can sleep now. And I'm like, that's freezing. 10 degrees Celsius indoors is freezing. So I have a goddaughter. Her name is Yulia. She's 7 years old, and they live right outside of Kyiv. They haven't had heating for 2 months now, and up until recently, for like I think a month straight, and I mean like I'm not exaggerating, for like a whole month straight, they would get 1 to 1.5 hours of electricity a night, and the amperage, like the power, would be so low that they couldn't charge anything. Like literally your iPhone would be like charging for an hour and it would be on like 15%. They couldn't charge their like EcoFlows or their Blue Eddies or whatever, and they basically survived off of like a generator. They got this like a gas generator, you know, like the drrr outside, like the machine that makes a ton of noise. And gas is expensive, so it's like, you know, in order for you to heat your apartment, or like in order for you to like, I don't know, blow dry your hair, you have to spend like so much money. So they've been in this position for a while, and I've been like sort of like looking into ways that maybe, you know, to get them like a kind of like heat, I don't know, something that can autonomously work on its own, and maybe like a power bank heater, like tons of different things. The point is that it's just like it's unbearable there. Now my dad's friend's apartment got flooded because the pipes burst. So his apartment is like toast, and I mean it's so bad. Like they have to gut renovate the whole thing because the pipes burst. So it's like it's flooded head to toe. And that has been happening all over the city. And again, we used to have electricity outage schedules where, like, for instance, you could write in your address and in this app, and it would give you your kind of like they call it like, I guess, your group. Like for instance, I'm group 4.2, or used to be group 4.2 in electricity outages. So you could look on your phone and be like, okay, I won't have electricity between like 3 and 4, and then I won't have electricity between like 1 a.m. and 5 a.m., or I won't have electricity between like 9 a.m. and like 2 p.m., right? So we haven't had a working electricity schedule in over 2 weeks now. It just like light sometimes comes on, sometimes comes off, like no one knows when. It's kind of like the G train in Brooklyn, you know, it shows up when it wants to. So that's been the case. And then every neighborhood, every building now is so individual that they're working on a system of power outage schedules that are not meant per group, but they're meant individually for every building, because the grid is so fucked that each building kind of has its own unique situation happening. And so it used to be so that they could turn off like this neighborhood for 3 hours and turn on another one, right, based on these like electricity groups. Now it's kind of like my neighbors right now have no electricity, like completely just dark. I do. But then sometimes I don't have electricity and they do. Sometimes, like in my building, half the apartments have electricity and half don't at the same time, because we have 2 lines in the building. So it's like, it's been such a mess. Honestly, like the grid in Kyiv is so fucked. I read propane or wood stove could be an alternative. Like, I honestly don't know how much propane is. Probably like not stupidly expensive, but also like think about, so if you are a family with like 2 small children, you can't really like have a wood stove or like a propane tank like heating up your apartment because you have 2 small children. And like you need to have safe things, and if you fall asleep and that's burning, like you can have some issues. So it's like people are managing. I mean, honestly, I'm always both like not confused, but surprised by how inventive people in Ukraine are and how they kind of just adjust to their circumstances and go about their day anyway and like figure out how to live in whatever conditions they're dealt. But at the same time, like, it's been awful, you know? And again, like, I am not complaining because I have had by far a very phenomenal situation just like by chance and by just stroke of luck, right? But I know a lot of people, and I see this every day, where like they don't have electricity for 18 hours a day. And when they do, they can't even charge anything because the power is so low. There are lots of like power surges. Like the other day, my building lost power for I think like 6 hours during like a non-outage time because there was there was there was like an electricity surge, and so it knocked out it basically like knocked out the fuse in like the whole building, so there had to be like an emergency repair done by like our incredibly overwhelmed electrician, who's constantly just like, oh my god, because everything just keeps happening. Yeah, we do have Sherry, we do have like yes, people do help each other. Like for instance, we have like a neighbors group chat type of thing on Telegram, or a group for all of the neighbors. And when things were worse than they are right now, people would basically write like, hey, I have electricity in the moment, if you need to charge your gadgets, like let me know. Or people would like write and be like, hey, can I like come over to someone's place and do this and that, like I need to, I don't know, heat up a bottle for my kid or something. So this was happening for me personally. I also, so my like good friend lives on a different electricity line in my building than I do. So when I have power, she doesn't. When she has power, I don't. So basically, we kind of like, we can just like, you know, hop back and forth between the two of us and get all of our needs met in terms of like electricity and heating and all, and like, I don't know, cooking meals and stuff. So the good part is that my building doesn't have gas, so if something hits it, there is nothing to explode. However, the shit part about not having gas is that if you don't have electricity, nothing works. Like you can't heat anything up. And is Cindy there with you? Yes, she's snoring right here. I'll show you Cindy in a second, but also I think I like missed. Thank you, Bombi. I actually really appreciate it. And I've missed everyone as well. Sorry that it took me so long to like respond to it. I just, you know, I was on a roll. Cindy, come here. Show yourself. Say hello. I'm sorry, bud. This is Cindy. She really doesn't like the weather because today it's minus 20 Celsius. It is really bad. And Cindy is in this mode where she doesn't like, so she hates being indoors, right? Because like she's used to going outside and there's grass and she can roll in it and she's like a happy pup, right? But when she goes outside right now, like dogs can't tell seasons and stuff, and they don't know when seasons are gonna change and stuff like that, right? So I've just basically realized that for Cindy, going outside is a lottery every time because she doesn't know if it's gonna be like covered in snow or if there is gonna be grass, right? So it's like a 50-50. It's either gonna be terrible or it's gonna be everything she's ever wanted, right? And so every day we go through the same thing where she wakes up and or like we're, I don't know, like we're at home, like I'm working from home, and she's like, she sits in front of the door and she's like, come on, I want to go on a walk. And I'm like, okay, let's do that. So we exit the building. She sees the outdoors, literally gives me the biggest sort of like I hate you stare on the planet, runs up like, so there is like a patch of like a bunch of patches of grass right in front of my building. So they're probably like 7 steps out of the doorway. Now they're covered in snow. But what she does basically, she like runs out, goes into that patch. So she like takes 7 steps, does all of her business in one spot. I mean, like pees, poops, everything, and bolts back inside. And so every day I've realized that this dog is like walking outside and she's like, grass? Is it gonna be grass? Because she doesn't know. So I think she's like so disappointed every single day because like all she wants is to go outside and see grass. And there is no grass. You know? And it's so sad. Yeah. That's what my dog does. Well, but then we have like Maeve for contrast, right? Who, in her normal circumstance, when she's not recovering from like 2 weeks of IV and 3 weeks of feeling like shit, it's like she sees snow and she's like, snow! You know, like Maeve she will dive into the snow. She will like jump into it. She's like so excited for everything. She's so happy to be here. So they're just such different dogs, you know? My dog goes on turbo when it snows. Yeah. Well, Maeve does too. I'm gonna show you some. So we have a group chat with my dad and Anastasia. So this is Maeve yesterday. She's finally like recovered a little bit. See, she looks better, but she has like no cheeks. She used to have these like big cheeks and now she's famished, literally. So look at her. She's so adorable. But this is like she's recovered now, or like she's recovering now, because she was so freaking like, okay, you can see it better here. So look at her right now. Like she is so skinny, skin and bones, because she was losing weight and she wasn't eating. And now she's eating and like gaining weight slowly, but like she's literally a skeleton. And also, thank you, Dan, again. I really appreciate it. Well, she's in good hands. She's with my dad. She's, you know, he like loves her so much. Like, look at this. He took her to an art exhibit. And she can't walk long distances. Like, she can just sort of like walk a little bit. So he was carrying her the entire time. And hi Maria, and so you know, she's just like, it's so sweet. He's like, well, it's easier now because she's not nearly as heavy. But like, look at him. He's like a dad to an infant. Like, the way that he treats her is legitimately like a child, and it's so adorable. But what happened to Maeve? She got sterilized. There were massive complications. She was losing weight, not eating, and deteriorating really fast for about 2 weeks. She was on an IV every day, and 3 days ago she started getting better. And by that I mean like it was like a complete switch. And honestly, like when I mean we didn't know what was gonna happen, because her labs weren't improving at all and she was just losing weight and like looking more and more ghostly and like lethargic and stuff. Like it was, now I'm talking about it with like a haha, but like I legitimately was like task paralyzed for 2 weeks, and I couldn't do anything other than like consult with vets, get like second, third, fourth opinion, and like just, you know, try to get her to be better. Was it a complication with the surgery? Yeah, it was likely negligence that resulted in it, in this, but like they are like obviously trying to like, you know, make it sound like she just had a hereditary kidney issue, which she doesn't have anymore, you know, but it's hereditary. So this is her. Yeah, she's an adorable little pup, but like I feel so sad for her, because she's just, you know, she's gone through so much in this short period of time. Yeah. It's like, you know, this was Maeve before she lost all the weight. Like, look at the cheeks. She has so much cheek. And now she doesn't have cheek. Yeah, she's like, you know, such an adorable little puppy. Also, my dad loves her so much. Thank you, 5UFO. And Heroyam Slava. And also, I don't know I don't know how, does Taiwan have like a thing like that? But yeah, Maeve is an adorable little thing, and honestly, like the way that my dad treats her, I've never seen him act towards a dog like that, and I honestly, like, I don't think I can take her back because I feel like both of them would be heartbroken because she's like obsessed with my dad. But also, like, look, this was before the surgery, this is before everything like went sideways, but this is her. Wait, this is so funny. Like, she's like such a, you know, she's such a like she's like a perfect dog for my dad, honestly, because she's hyperactive. He's he likes walking a lot, so like him and her go on like 2 hour walks every night, you know. And she's also obsessed with tennis balls. Like, he literally cannot say tennis. Like, I can't say FOOD in front of Cindy because she loses her shit. So if you say tennis ball in Ukrainian, Yachik, in front of Maeve, she literally loses her shit. She's like obsessed with like tennis balls. She's obsessed with like footballs, with basketballs, with anything. There is a actually I guess like it's a basketball thing, a basketball court near my dad's apartment. And oh, this is Maeve. She spots a ball. Look at her. She's like trying to get there.
Юля, Настя, в кінцевому етапі тут таки вийшла Майва. Дякую, Андрій.
But it's like, she's just like, anything that resembles a sphere works, you know?
Бігом на базу.
It's like, she's just obsessed. But yeah, tennis ball is a forbidden word. It's some good paw-eye coordination, right? Agreed. I'm like trying to find you funny videos of her. So my dad doesn't allow dogs to sleep in bed. So like he will like she has her like little dog bed on the couch in the living room, and he like brings her there every night before sleep, and then like she crawls her way back once they fall asleep. But so she always like he always asks her like, where is the dog's place? This is his like go to your bed, right? Like in Ukrainian it's like "Da собака на місце," or well, like I guess for my dad it is, right? Like, where is a dog's place? And which again, equivalent in English would be like go to your bed, right? But it's like a question. And so this is a video. My dad is literally asking. He's like,
Де собакине місце?
Like, where is a dog's place? And what does Maeve do? She's like, right here. And it's like so funny because she knows exactly what he's saying. Like, she knows she's supposed to get up and go to her bed, but she's just kind of like, nope. So yeah, I mean, up until this like situation happened with the surgery and all of this like debilitating stuff, like, you know, I think she was having the best time, the absolute best time with my dad, and at my dad's. I think they're like meant for each other, and it was a really like, I like sort of couldn't come to terms with it because she's my dog, right? And it's kind of like I could tell that he wants to keep her, right? But I couldn't not like let that happen, but it's just like I love her, right? But I think at this point, after all of this and after like all the time that they've spent together while she was recovering and through all of this stuff, like I just don't think I can. Like, I don't think I can ask him to like bring her back. I think that she's way too happy where she is. And originally this was mostly because when I came back from the US, there were all of these power cuts and all of this like crazy stuff, and my dad was like, oh, let me keep her for a little while longer because she's gonna be more comfortable here. And it's like, yeah, well, she will be, you know, because again, like she requires a lot of exercise, and like the no, my dad is in Lviv, and like the environment that he lives in is a lot more conducive to it than like the environment that I live in. And I'm like, and she was always meant to come back here, but then like I don't think I can at this point. So yeah. So yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Ian, that's exactly what's happening. More about therapy? Why? What do you mean? Cindy will probably miss Maeve. Well, so, have you talked to him about if he would like for her to stay permanently? Oh, like, the thing is, like, this is an unspoken thing for a while now. And, like, yes, he would love for her, he wants her to stay permanently. He just, like, doesn't know which angle to ask me from, right? Because it's like, at this point, the way that he talks about it is like, oh, my dog, or like, oh, our dog, like as in like him and his girlfriend, right? And like he's respectful to me in a sense, right? But he's also like, you can hear that he thinks of her as like, you know, he was like talking to someone and he was like, I wish I never like offered to watch her while Yulia was in the US, because how am I supposed to give her back? He's like in love with her. And also, again, like, I haven't seen my dad. Like, I've seen my dad with many dogs. We've had dogs growing up. He's loved all of them. He's always been a very good dog owner, or, like, dog human. But, like, this is the first time I see him, like, obsessed with a dog. Is therapy helping me? Yes. I don't know what I would do without therapy. Honestly, it's been, like... I've started liking Mondays because Mondays are my therapy day. And that says a lot, because I'm not a Monday person. So yeah, I really enjoy therapy. I think it helps a lot. It's been like really helpful for me to understand certain behaviors of mine and like why certain things are the way that they are. It's been very helpful for me to be able to draw boundaries and like tell people what I need and like sort of stand up for myself in a sense, because I can stand up for myself in a work environment. I can stand up for myself in like a lot of situations, but like I can't with like people that I love often do that. And I have, well, so my mom and I have a very difficult relationship, and a lot of my sort of like issues or things that I don't like or things that I would like to change stem from like our problems. And so I had to really, well, I'm kind of working on that right now. I'm trying to deal with that, and I'm trying to deal with like the concept of my worth, because since I've moved to Ukraine, it's sort of like, you know, my relationship with my parents became different because obviously I'm closer to them, and so things change, and so a lot of dynamics changed, and a lot of things that were easy to ignore when I was away are now not easy to ignore. So, you know, therapy is fantastic, but it's just like after midnight. Yeah, it's 1:30 in the morning, but also I'm a night person. Sounds like she's spoiled rotten. Yeah, Sharon, like that's the thing, is like I think I think honestly that the best place for her is to be with my dad. And also, like, to be honest, like, she has two people with her at all times. Also, like, someone said that Cindy would miss her. Cindy is a spoiled only child, and she was an only child until she was 4 years old. And so she's kind of like, I mean, she like doesn't mind Maeve. She likes her in a sense that, like, Maeve is great to have because Maeve like she grooms her. She like comes and like cuddles with her and stuff like that, but it all comes from Maeve. Like, it's Maeve's initiative, you know? But like Cindy loves me, and Cindy is a very territorial little thing with me. So while they've never had like conflicts and stuff, like big conflicts. I mean, like they've had conflicts, like they're dogs, but like um you know she I think Cindy is tremendously happy to be an only dog, or like only hound. Respect the sirens and rules. That's not true. That's not true. Liar. Liar, liar, pants on fire. Well, yeah, she looks happy now, finally, because she's like recovering, but before this, it was not great to observe and to be part of, for sure. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Dan. Oh, thank you. So, yeah. Yes. I remember your French. Well, yeah. Mm. Oh, I'm sorry, did your other bulldog pass away? So you didn't miss any of us, of course. Why? Why would you think that? What? Why? Why would 3D printing be illegal? Well, Sherry, part of the reason why I decided to like sort of stay away from the internet is because I couldn't really, like, I wasn't functional enough to really keep up with being on the internet. So I'm kind of working on being able to, make videos again and do lives and like talk about news. But I think that I think that what's happening in America these days is a lot, and I recognize that the whole world is in were people looking for me on my old channel? Oh yeah. Well, this is my channel though. I don't have an old channel. You mean you mean the gays? Well, yeah. That that sort of didn't really go very well in the end. Yeah, no, I wasn't in a good state of mind at all. But yeah, I really want to come back to being present and to being in the correct mindset to be able to do these things. Oh, hi, Kristen. And I miss unmasking. Yeah, I actually miss unmasking a lot, but the issue with unmasking is that with the power cuts right now, we can't really plan properly to record because you don't know when you will have electricity and when you won't, so you can't really record. Yeah, it's like kind of impossible because it's recorded at home right now. And also Rima is at the front. And Rima now Rima's schedule right now is a lot more unpredictable and her deployments are longer. So it's kind of impossible to record at the moment. Oh, thank you, Sherry. It's very sweet. Will you go live here when you go live? Will you go live here when you go live on TikTok? I got rid of TikTok because of Oracle. Yeah. I mean, I prefer YouTube lives to begin with. I think I haven't been live on TikTok for like maybe 6 to 7 months. I still have TikTok. I do have an account that my friend created for me. Actually, well, my friend helped me create. Nick over here, Nick Bolton or N Bolton, he helped me create. He generously landed me his phone number so I could create a UK account, and that's the account where I've like posted random crap like my dogs and whatever. And to be fair, like, here's the thing, like, I can't have an account where I post both random crap and politics because that's just not a thing, it seems. So part of me like really wants to have an artsy fartsy little channel where I just post like, I don't know, inking fountain pens and like making food and Cinny being Cinny and stuff, and then have a political channel separately, but then every time I attempt to do that, I can do one or the other because brain ain't braining. But I'm thinking maybe I will keep TikTok for like random content that just like helps me, decompress, and use YouTube for more like news dives and updates on the situation in Ukraine and things like that. I also just like don't know what information people are looking for at the moment, I feel like people are not really interested. And I'm not saying you guys, I'm saying, yeah, good to see you too, Scooter. I mean, like, in general, I feel like people are not necessarily, especially people in the US, are not necessarily as interested in what's happening in Ukraine because, well, like, you guys have a lot happening as well. I feel like most of my headlines in my little headline journal are from the US. Look up info about proposed 3D printer restriction legislation in Washington and New York. Oh my god, that's so weird. I think... I'm gonna look it up. I just like... The censorship state of all of this is crazy. Why this small format not as a major effort, but it humanized you. Oh, thank you. I mean, yeah, the gaze is like, it's a job. It was a news anchor job. And while I tried to make it as kind of like real and raw as possible, it's not live. 3D printer ban, New York. Kathy Hochul has proposed legislation aimed at restricting 3D printed firearms. Oh, but it's 3D printed firearms by requiring manufacturers to implement safety technology in 3D printers to prevent the creation of gun parts. The proposed laws also criminalize the possession of digital blueprints for firearms, introduce background checks for printer purchases, and if passed, would make New York the first state to mandate such hardware restrictions. Okay, so this actually makes sense, but this is a problem in a sense because I know a lot of people that are helping that 3D print gun parts. Like, in fact, they 3D print like bullet loaders for guns, and they ship them here to Ukraine. They're like these plastic things, and they help you reload your gun faster. My friend's wife does that. She actually is a brilliant designer, and the friend that I'm referring to might be in the chat, but I'm not sure. But if he is, then then you know, he knows who I'm talking about. Kim is brilliant. But she 3D prints that. She's not in New York, but like if they start introducing this legislature, then like that's going to be a big issue for a lot of like help to Ukraine, because a lot of gun parts that help you reload and help you kind of move faster, I guess, with your firearm. Well, I get not sorry. I'm like glitching at this point, but like there are a lot of things that you can 3D print that help you at the front. I think we need updates on Ukraine. So little coverage anymore here in the U.S. I mean, I'm happy to do updates on Ukraine. The thing is, thank you, Dan. The thing is that like we're kind of in this like constant limbo of these stupid peace talks that are literally not going to lead anywhere. Like nowhere. They're not leading anywhere. Putin wants Zelensky to come negotiate in Moscow, and this is just his typical tactic of stalling and then saying, see, we want peace. We invited him to Moscow where, you know, he could be poisoned by door handles, and he refused. So yeah, so there is that. So yeah, there is this peace. There are these peace talks that are just stupid and useless, and then we have the ever worsening energy situation because, you know, yeah, well, we haven't had a Russian attack on Kyiv in a little while, maybe like a week, but the week is up tomorrow. Like we're not gonna bomb Kyiv for a week, and I'm assuming tomorrow all hell is gonna break loose, because last time that we had this like big attack on Kyiv, I was in the bomb shelter till like 6 a.m, and you could hear everything. Like you can hear everything exploding outside. Like it's really damaging to your. It's like, you know, I'm not scared anymore in a sense. Like none of us really are, I guess. Like in the moment, it's just like it's really damaging to your nervous system because you're like you can't go to sleep. You know, like you don't get enough rest. My friend's mom is here visiting, and she was supposed to leave about a month ago, and she didn't yet. But the friend lives in my building. The friend lives in my building, and her mom is staying at her place, and her mom is here from the U.S., and she is, she's in a wheelchair, and she can't really, like, she can't, you know, like, she can't get herself to the bomb shelter, so when she's here, I feel extra responsibility, because obviously, well, the friend is not here at the moment, and so I feel extra responsibility, and I have extra anxiety because I feel responsible for another human, and I feel responsible for their safety because there is no one else that can help them get to the bomb shelter and stuff. And like, you know, it takes a lot longer to get to the bomb shelter. With someone in a wheelchair, it's there's like I can't really like talk about everything that's going on with my friend's mom, but like there are quite a few like underlying issues and stuff. And also, normally, when all hell breaks loose outside, I go to my boyfriend's place because he lives in a much safer location. Like, first of all, he's on the second floor and I'm on the 15th, and he's near the office of the president, so it's like the safest you can be in this city, right? My bomb shelter is underground car garage, so it's in my building, but like she still can't get there on her own. Especially if the freight elevator is not working, because then you have to take like 2 flights of stairs into the bomb shelter, and obviously, you know. But so what I was saying is that normally in these situations, I just go over to my boyfriend's place and sleep there because, like, it's still unsafe to do so, but like chances of something hitting his building are very slim normally, and so even if like there's ballistic missiles and all hell is breaking loose, I can still sleep there, but not when my friend's mom is here, because well, I'm not gonna leave her, you know, like I'm not gonna leave her to fend for herself, obviously, and but that means that instead of going and getting a full night's sleep in a bed, I don't sleep until the air raid is over, until like 6 or something in the morning. And so that, like, with my type of ADHD, really causes me a lot of problems. So yeah. Oh, hi, Graham. And thank you, Dan. Thank you again. Yeah, no, she's very brave. Like, she has she runs a charitable organization that helps Ukraine. And it's like quite crazy. Like, I admire her for being able to like travel this far from the US to Ukraine and kind of like, you know, make it here and do all this stuff. But at the same time, like, it is really dangerous and it's really unsafe for her here in a sense, because again, if they're like, if I'm somehow for some reason not here during an air raid, then she's screwed in a sense, because she's not going to be able to get to a place where she needs to be safe. So yeah, so I kind of feel a little tethered to the building, because I don't want to leave her alone here without, you know, like without help and without being able to like rely on me and stuff. So yeah, but it's my dad's birthday on Tuesday, so I think I'm gonna potentially go visit him in Lviv for a day. I can't do more than a day, but I was thinking maybe I can like jump on a late night train, get there early morning, and then take a late night train back. Can we trade leaders? As in, like, you want to ship Donald Trump here? No thanks. Like, absolutely no thanks. Fuck that. Sorry. No. I am not interested. Like, genuinely, as I said, like, I've been keeping a log of headlines. For those of you who weren't here, like, in the beginning of the live, but, like, my way of, like, creatively staying in touch with the news is, like, keeping a log of headlines. And so the first headline, which is, like, a headline for January, was creators of Project 2025 want to send unmarried people to marriage training camps. January 27th, I can tell you, can we at least give you Elon? No thanks. Again, no, keep him. Ship him back to South Africa. So 27/01/2026 headlines that I found to be interesting were: Greg Bovino loses his job. Texas Governor Greg Abbott says White House should recalibrate immigration enforcement strategy. Funding deal begins to unravel as Senate Democrats vow to oppose DHS bill over Alex Preddy shooting in Minnesota. Judge orders ICE chief to appear in court or risk contempt over denial of due process. Russian drone strike on Ukrainian passenger train kills 5. The 28th, Russia has suffered more losses than any major power since World War II, report says. Ecuador says ICE agent tried to enter consulate in Minneapolis. Insane. Border Patrol agents who shot Alex Preddy put on administrative leave. Administrative leave. Killed man for no reason. European leaders spoke of shock at Trump's state of mind after Mar-a-Lago meeting, and that was a Slovak Prime Minister Fico, which is like crazy because he's a Trumpy. Ghislaine Maxwell drops new Epstein allegations, and those are a doozy. 29th was Green's call for expulsion of U.S. troops following abduction, because if you haven't heard, so this is where like my moral compass suffers a little bit, because U.S. troops abducted 2 people in Scotland after Scottish High Court forbade them from doing it. But those 2 people are Russian, and they're a captain and a co-captain from Russian Shadow Fleet. So I'm kind of like, am I really? I mean, like, this is a gross violation of law, but they're Russians. Like, you know, can we just like. Anyways, U.S. government responds to claim it abducted 2 people from Scotland. Congress closer to government shutdown after Senate blocks funding bill. RFK Jr. overhauls federal autism panel with vaccine deniers. OpenAI working on social media network that could require creepy eye scans. Exclusive Trump stop envoy negotiating Ukraine's fate displays shocking lack of knowledge about war and politics. Kremlin says Russia has invited Ukraine's Zelensky to come to Moscow for peace talks. I feel like for historical purposes, these are amazing headlines, okay? Trump says Putin agreed not to hit Kyiv for 1 week. Then we arrive at the 30th. Journalists Don Lemon and Georgia Fort taken into custody after Minnesota church protest. Tulsi Gabbard's Georgia raid is a pretext for future election intimidation. More than 300 anti-ICE protests planned across the U.S. this weekend, the 31st. Catherine O'Hara remembered by Macaulay Culkin, Dan Levy? Yeah, I think Levi or Levy. Seth Rogen, Tim Burton, and more. A rare light in this world. Hi, Kat. Oh, hi, Melissa. Demonstrators in Milan protest ICE at Winter Olympics, criticizing creeping fascism. Judge denies Minnesota's request for immediate end to immigration surge. We don't think an election is necessary. That is coming actually out of Canada. New documents reveal the breadth of Jeffrey Epstein's orbit. Then, this was my favorite headline just because it was fucking funny. I don't think it's historically important by any means, but I thought it was amazing. Melania is a horror movie. You know, she made like a documentary about herself and it hasn't even aired yet and everybody finds it like to be atrocious. So yeah. Thank you, Dan. 5-year-old Liam Conejo Ramos' father ordered released from immigration detention center. Russian officials call for more powerful weapons to attack Ukraine as temperatures drop. Everyone in shock. Kyiv residents left without power, heating, and water as grid disruption causes mass blackout across Ukraine. That was yesterday. And then today's headlines: White TikTok's first week of American ownership was a disaster. And I thought it was a good headline because like the article itself is really good and it like explains everything that people are worried about and how like people are leaving TikTok and stuff because of the Trump admin. So the spread itself looks like this. It's called the Trump effect, and that's kind of how I organize these things. And then the other headline is Trump's profiteering hits $4 billion. So yeah, this is kind of how I've decided to keep up with the news, and how I've decided to sort of like, you know, keep them for future, where like, you know, I don't know, people that live here after us who are not going to live through these historical times because they, I don't know, or are not going to remember it because they're too young or like whatever, can, you know, find this little notebook and be like, oh my god, this is interesting, look at this history, you know, just kind of like for information keeping purposes. Also, this greatly bugs me, sorry, I've been like Oh, also you guys, before anything, so Glitter Spirit Cat over here, she has been actively working on her TikTok and gaining a TikTok following. She does cooking with her son, who is autistic, and his autism has regressed. He is he's 20, Cat, I think, and he has to relearn a lot of like basic skills like cooking and stuff like that again, because he's regressed. And so Kat has been doing a lot of really cool videos, teaching her son how to cook and like encouraging him to be, to be more like self-sufficient and stuff. And I actually like every single video of cats that I see, and I find them very like entertaining in a sense that like, they're cute. And yeah, so he's 20 years old, and he had like an autism regression. I don't know, like, do they call it like a regression episode, or do they call it just autism regression? So basically, like, he had developmental regression, basically. And he, needs to relearn a bunch of basic things of, like, how to, like, be on his own in this world. And Kat is being very patient and very cool, and like showing the world how to teach your kid how to cook. And also with that, like, there are lots of good recipes for food, like burritos and stuff like that, because she like actually shows you step-by-step instructions. And it's also like very sweet to see, because Kat is like probably the most patient person on the planet, because it's like, it's one thing that I've noticed is that her kid always says, "I'm doing my best," or like, "all I can do is my best," or something like that. And I can tell that this is amazing parenting, because clearly there are lots of times that he gets frustrated with himself and with other people and stuff like that. And I think Kat has just taught him patiently that, like, all you can do is your best, and it's like okay to make mistakes. So anytime he does something, he's like, "I'm doing my best," and it's actually so cute. Like, genuinely, you can tell that like she's a very good mom. I mean, I know she's a very good mom because I know Kat, like, outside of like of YouTube comments, but in general it's just like it's very adorable. I saw her channel and I saw her like doing this stuff with her son, and it was very adorable. Because it's like, I'm not very patient when it comes to like cooking or teaching people things. And so it was very adorable. Like, I would want someone like Kat to be this patient with me when I was learning, or when I was in school, or like things like that. What did I think of Stranger Things? I haven't watched season 5, to be honest. So, nothing much, really. As opposed to some moms who will remain nameless. Oh god, Grumpy. You're so funny. Ow, also, like, my knees are killing me. Thank you, Dan. I think, like, I've always had knee problems since we started this internet journey together. But, like... But this time, it's just really bad. Oh, so I'm also, I need to like get my knee checked and like do something about that, but also like I'm in the process of regrowing gum and bone in my teeth. So there is that. So that's also one of the reasons why I haven't really been like going live for a long time, because at some point I like, multiple times a week sometimes my face is just swollen because of all of the dental procedures, and sometimes it's just like, just not great. The cold is not helpful. It's not even the cold, it's because I've been like sitting, I've been doing a lot of desk stuff. So 30s is just this fun, yeah, I know. So it's kind of like I keep my knee in a position that's the worst for it to begin with. So yeah, it's not doing very well. I need to like exercise genuinely. Like I think the consensus here is I need to exercise. So yeah, there's that. Well, I missed everyone as well, and I'm sorry, Nick, for barely responding and like responding weeks later or something like that. I genuinely am having a really rough stretch. Oh, that's amazing, Leathercat. Hi, Rebecca's. Hi. I actually like I thought about that. I thought about that, but the thing is like so apartments here are furnished, so it's like there is nowhere I can put a desk. And I already have this desk and I can't get rid of it because it came with the apartment and like it's actually this desk like the desk is that like what I use as a dining table because I don't really like dine at a table, but my dining table is the desk because it's like bigger and has a lot of space and that works for me a lot better as a desk. But there's just like nowhere I can put one, so I have to work with what I have. And what I was thinking of doing is I was thinking of getting like one of those like square like kind of like poof pillows and sitting like lotus pose or something, because that's a little bit better on my knee than yeah, I don't know, I'll figure it out, you know. But yeah, well, Rebecca's, you kind of came like not your fault, but I'm sort of like I think I'm about to check out soon. Thank you, Dan, for another membership. I think I'm about to check out soon because because it's 2 a.m. and I am really bad at like going to bed in time. As you guys know and remember, nothing changed. And lately it's been even worse because, you know, I've been staying up like worrying about Maven stuff. I'll use that as an excuse. And also I just realized that I haven't really had any normal food today. So I am folding my leg up under me, yes. So yeah, I would like to go like, you know, wash my hair and go to bed and maybe like watch an episode of something. So yeah, and also like I've been journaling. So it's time for my evening journaling session so I can like get out all of my, you know, all of my sort of observations about my existence. So yeah. Oh, I actually need to cross some things out here. Yeah. I've been like drawing and stuff, you know, and it's been helping me sort of like stay sane. So. But yeah, I will attempt to be a lot more consistent with being around. So I will do that, or I will attempt to do that, and then I'll see you guys soon. Yes, it is a Hobonichi. The funny thing is, like, I've been getting these once a year, every year, for, like, years, and people are now, like, obsessed with them. Because I like really thin pages, you know? So yeah, this has been, like, my go-to little... And I like the little tiny, like, journals that fit in my little bags. So yeah. I love that, like, you know, all of these... Sorry, before I go, I love that, like, Japanese stationery has been, like, a normal thing for me for years. Me and my aunt, like, have loved Japanese stationery for, like, years now. Like, Muji is one of the, like, I have, like, 10 black Muji pens, 0.5, like, the gel pens, because they're, like, the best pens on the planet. And suddenly, this has, like, blown up on TikTok and, like, everywhere else. And now everyone is buying fountain pens. Everyone is, like... buying journals, everyone's like obsessed with all of this stuff. Meanwhile, like, and Kat will actually know what I'm talking about, but it, like, when I was a kid, I had to write with a fountain pen, is from like pre-K to 5th grade or something. So like I naturally just always have a fountain pen like ready, and it's so funny because I brought my pens from the US and people are like freaking out on TikTok about like Pilot Kakunos because they're like cheap and really good pens. And like I had 2 of these, one in fine and one in extra fine, just like chilling in my apartment in New York because they've been there forever. So yeah, so like so it's like super funny because I've been seeing like Journal Talk, and I've been seeing all of these pens like blow up. Actually, the one thing that I will show you for Christmas this year, my boyfriend gave me a really, really lovely gift, and I'm so like obsessed and proud of this gift, because it's Kaweco aluminum sport fountain pen, and it's an aluminum fountain pen, but it's amazing because it has great weight to it, and it's like a what they call, I don't know, like luxury fountain pen. And it's really lovely, and it writes really lovely, and I absolutely love this fountain pen, and it was my Christmas gift along with like some ink and stuff, and I am just really grateful for it, and yeah. But how very French. It wasn't French. Like, he legitimately asked me what I wanted for Christmas. And I was like, I want a fountain pen. And so that's what I got. But yes, Japanese stationery is superior. And like, I've legitimately always partook in like buying a shitload of stationery. And I just like, I'm a creative person. I'm a creative person, but I'm not the type of person who is like creative in one way, as in like, I don't like, it's not like I'm like good at drawing, or like I'm amazing at this. It's just like I just like doing things with my hands. And so and Anastasia, my aunt, who's like my, like, she's amazing, we're very close. She's an artist. And so I grew up in this environment with like always having a lot of like markers and, I don't know, like pens and pencils and brushes and stuff like that. It's like, I don't know. I realized that I have all of the creativity tools always on hand because that's just how I grew up. And so it's really funny to see it become like trendy and cool, and like people are enjoying it because this has always been like such a normal thing for me. But yeah. Okay, you guys, I'm gonna go probably draw something. Thank you, Dan, and hopefully I'll see you soon. So yeah. Yeah. But there will be signs. That's so funny. Good night, you guys. I don't recognize the interface. Okay. Well, bye-bye, guys. Oh my god, I don't recognize the interface. How does one? Uh-huh. Okay. Night, night.